Hi there, Sage Candidate of VO2 Max Productions with our second official installment of Training Talk Thursdays. Thank you for all the support, all the comments, all the views, all the shares and subscriptions. I really want to keep this Training Talk series going where I answer your informative Training Talk questions. And again, feel free to comment below with what you want to hear about discussed next week, and whatever comment gets the most thumbs up and votes will catch my attention. So this week's Training Talk Thursday goes out to Kyle Roy, who commented on basically he's training for a sub 3 hour marathon, and he gave me the scenario where he's about a month out from his race and he gets sick, either with some sort of cold or something that his body's fighting. What should he do? Should he take some days off? Should he just take some easy days? What to do with that? And that's a really good question. It's definitely happened to me a lot in my 15-year running career, and I'm sure it's happened to everyone that's been running for a while as well, especially in the winter months. You're more likely to get a virus, cold virus, or the bacterial infection, sinus infection, the flu, whatever. And I'll start off with a disclaimer that I am not a doctor, not certified at all, so take my advice with a grain of salt. This advice is not meant to cure, prevent, or treat any disease, and you should go see a doctor. I'm not liable for your death or pneumonia or whatever you could get if you try to train through a certain illness. So that's my disclaimer. But in my opinion, there are a lot of different opinions on this, and it is going to depend on a lot of variables, like I think how sick you are, what type of illness you have, whether it's bacterial or viral. I think it makes a big difference. And how your body, how your immune system generally responds. Are you susceptible to getting pneumonia? Do you have asthma? Because that could be something that will affect your breathing a lot more if you get some sort of bacterial chest infection or something like that, or if you're coming back from the flu and then you get a sinus infection as well. So definitely some complications there. But given his scenario, which he said he was a month out from his target marathon, I'd say if you get a minor cold, if you get something where it's, just mainly in your nose and throat, maybe you're sneezing a lot, maybe you have a mild sore throat, maybe you have a headache, but you don't have any fever, you could usually train through that to some extent. I wouldn't do like a hard VO2 max workout if you're starting to do more speed work. You don't want to be totally racking your body. You don't want to go out and do a 22-mile long run in the cold rain. So you might want to shift your training around. You might have to take, I'd probably take at least 2 days easy depending on how your symptoms progress and depending on the severity of the cold. But then if it's actual, a more serious infection, if you actually have a high body temperature, a fever, if it actually moves down and you're coughing up phlegm pretty bad, getting the body aches, maybe some chills, that's a lot more serious generally, and you're probably going to have to take at least 1 or 2 days totally off. That's probably not going to be too hard, at least it isn't for me, because if you have something that serious, usually you don't feel as motivated to go out and go running. So you definitely would take maybe 2 days totally off and then come back very gradually with some really easy days, like 3 miles of easy jogging, 5 miles the next day, easy jogging, nothing where you're going to be breathing hard. Whereas if you just have the head cold, you're not susceptible to getting a sinus infection, you could probably even do a quality type of workout in lieu of doing maybe a scheduled VO2 max workout, or if you had mile repeats or 2 mile repeats, you could probably do instead, and I got this out of Jack Daniel's distance running formula book, you could probably do some rep workout where you do some 200-meter repeats. Maybe you do 8 to 10 by 200-meter repeats, and you do those pretty relaxed. Like, you could do them fast because they're 200s, but you might be only doing them at 5K pace or 3K race pace. So they're not 200-meter sprints, they're actually just 200s that are at a decent pace just to get the muscle tension up. You might be coughing out a little cobwebs because you'll still be breathing a bit, but it's not a VO2 max workout. You don't want to be developing all this lactic acid and spending all these minutes at close to 100% of your maximum heart rate. So it shouldn't take too much out of you cardiovascularly, but it will still keep the muscle tension in your legs. It'll help promote good form, and you're still getting in some quality work, some heart rate spikes, while not stressing your body too much as like a VO2 max workout of mile repeats or a lactate threshold workout at 2 mile repeats would be. And so a final note from personal experience on this, I was training for the North Face 50 mile endurance challenge 50-mile trail race in December last year, and it's kind of a big championship race that I really wanted to do. But of course, the week of the race, about 4 days out, I come down with the flu, like legit flu. I didn't get my flu shot. I was, at a concert the weekend before. I got exposed to a lot of people. I was sick in bed, body aches, fever, chills, muscle aches. I had to take 5 days totally off. And it's better to always be more conservative and take that time off rather than rush back into training. Because really, if you're a month out from a race, or even 2 weeks out from a race, or even 2 months out from a race, it's better to take 3 or 4 days totally off and not do anything and make sure you're, close to 100% when you come back than it is to rush back into it. And you really are not going to lose that much cardiovascular fitness from taking 3 to 4 days totally off. After 5 days, maybe you're going to start losing your edge a bit. But all the training that you've been doing, all the capillary bed development in your legs, the muscle fiber development in your legs, that's still going to be there. And your lactate threshold pace is maybe going to slow down a little bit. It's still pretty much going to be there. You might lose, 0.5% in your VO2 max just because you took 4 days totally off. But it's not really a big deal until you take, after 5 days off, then I think it starts going exponential with how much fitness you lose. But again, it depends on the person, it depends how much you're training, depends what target race you're training for and what your running history is as well. So lots of variables, but if you have the flu, you gotta take time off. Don't want to get pneumonia. That'll set you back a lot longer. And if it's a minor cold or you're prone to getting a sinus infection, maybe you want to be a little more conservative. But you don't have to run every single day, and you don't have to run when you're sick if you don't feel good, especially if the weather's bad. That generally doesn't help things. If you don't have the right gear and you're getting wet and cold and shivering, it's just going to kind of weaken your immune system more. So definitely take that with a grain of salt and take into consideration what your goals are and how your body kind of responds to illness in the past. And then the same thing kind of goes with nagging injuries. And obviously there's a lot more variables at play with injuries, what type of injury you get, whether it's a stress reaction or if it's just tendonitis and what tendon it's affecting, or if it's a muscle strain. But generally with mild tendonitis, a lot of times you can kind of run through it. I wouldn't do it with Achilles tendonitis as much, but some of the tendons on the sides of your legs, or a post-tibial tendon on the inside of your ankle, a lot of times a little bit of ice, a little bit of some easy days, you could run through it and sometimes the pain will start subsiding. If it gets worse, then you're gonna have to take time off. And again, if it's a stress reaction where you could press on the bone and it starts hurting, you probably want to see a doctor and definitely not do any high impact running or activity. Maybe go on a bike or elliptical or whatever you have, swim, and get that checked out before you actually break the bone or get a crack, stress fracture. Most commonly it would be in the foot, in the metatarsal heads, or in the tibia, in your shin. Same thing with shin splints. That's a double-edged sword as well. That could turn into a stress fracture pretty easily. So you're getting tender in the shin. You want to ice it a lot and do some exercises, but you could run through it a little bit, but if you push it over the edge, it's going to get exponentially bad on you. Exponential is my keyword of the week after the Rut 50K, by the way. But you do have to take it with in consideration of your personal history, your injury history, how fragile you are, and how you've responded in the past. Maybe if you've been running for a while. If you haven't, then if you're new to this, then it's probably better to be more conservative. And I'm not promoting here to run through any injuries or anything like that. If it's mild muscle soreness or muscle tension, then usually it's probably okay. But if you've obviously torn something in your muscle or really pulled your hamstring or calf muscle or something like that, then it's definitely not worth taking a risk on, and you definitely have to play it by ear. And that might take several weeks even to really figure out. So go see a specialist on that. Other than that, I think hopefully I've answered some of your questions on illness or injury through training and how to kind of overcome that. Again, to reiterate, it's really not that bad if you have to take 3 or 4 days totally off and then come back slow with some really light jogging or really easy pace running. And again, if you just have a head cold, some minor sniffles, maybe a little sore throat, but it's not strep throat, you could do some 200 still in lieu of a harder workout. you could still run a decent amount. It might be a smart idea to cut your weekly mileage back though anyway. Like maybe you don't want to run 100 or 80 miles a week, or even what your high is. If your high is 30 miles a week, 40 miles a week, you know, maybe you're only running 20 miles a week. It wouldn't be a huge disaster, especially a month out from the race. I mean, you could have a kind of a planned down week anyway, even if you were 100% healthy. It's good injury prevention as well. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the views, all the subscriptions, and thanks for sharing the video, retweeting the link and everything like that. And I look forward to your comments for next week's Training Talk Thursdays. And so, you know, get those votes in, get those comments in, and thanks so much for all the views and support. I couldn't do this without you. And stay tuned for more via 2Max Productions. It's quite tasty.